What's up, everybody? Okay. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Radical Jack's Views. This is the official YouTube jump starter. We're gonna go ahead and discuss Us. You know what I'm saying? Do some character breakdowns. Do an overall movie review, spoiler free and spoiler, you know what I'm saying? I might tell you, I might not. I might just expect you to just know when to turn it off. We'll see though. Tune in. So we're gonna do the Us breakdown, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna do character breakdowns, movie breakdowns. I'm gonna go ahead and give you a review of the movie. I'll do spoiler free, that way, you know, if you wanna bounce out of here before everything gets too crazy and starts leaking everywhere, you can go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and get this thing going. Welcome to Radical Jack's Views. First, let me say, this movie's a complicated one. I'm gonna see it again, but off the first viewing of the movie, put my hand on my face. Off the first viewing of the movie, it's a great second outing for Get Out director Jordan Peele. The plot, of course, is a family goes on a vacation. They go into a beach. You know, the wife, she starts having premonitions about, you know, nightmarish dreams that she may or may not have had when she was a child. And next thing you know, she has a doppelganger family coming in to attack, and the movie sets off from there. You know what I'm saying? I want to say that Lupita was a fantastic lead. You know, the acting was awesome as usual. You know, she does a spectacular job doing both sides of it. You know, it's crazy how in depth she gets with each character. You know, it's honestly like you have two different actors there. The deeper story intertwined is a nice undertone. It isn't just tossed in poorly. You know, Jordan, he likes to throw stuff in there, intertwine it, make you really think, see what you're missing. So, you know, look forward to that if you're going to see it. This isn't your typical horror movie. The real terror is actually like subtly in the film itself. It's got a chilling nuance plaguing it through every scene. If you really pay attention to it, all the music that's on there. If you really pay attention to it, all the music that's in there, it actually enhances every scene. Even the camera angles, the way that they pan in and out, it amps up the scene and it really gets you involved. Now, of course, there's a comedic point here. As we know, Jordan Peele is a comedian. The best part about the comedy is how subjective it is. You know, how you're feeling depends on how you're actually feeling watching the movie. As in, you know, some parts were funny and you can actually hear the audience laughing. And then there were some parts where a lot of people would chuckle to themselves and some people would still bust out laughing. It just really depends on how you were feeling in that moment of the movie. I kind of mentioned this already, but the cinematography of the film is so good. You know, watching the angles of the camera, how smooth the film transitions, it was just really well constructed. All in all, I feel like Jordan Peele has another hit on his hands. It's not your typical scary movie. You know what I'm saying? Don't walk in there expecting to have a bunch of jump scares or, you know, go in there thinking it's just gonna be your typical slasher flick. It's more of a thriller, but the horror is more in the undertone of how realistic it could be. Spoilers. All right, so just so you know, we're about to go over character breakdown. We're gonna go over some of the subplots in the movie, some of the things that people have been trying to figure out, like, what am I looking for in this movie? We're gonna go ahead and let you know all that stuff. I'll break it down individually, each section, that way you know when we're going into this and that. So, you know, I'm trying not to keep you guys confused. So the movie actually looks to be a truly scary new addition to the subgenre of doppelganger horror movies, such as Invasion of the Body Snatchers, The Stepford Wives, and also Black Swan with Natalie Portman and Mila Kunis, if y'all didn't know that. Where did Peele come up with this idea of using doppelgangers for villains in his movie? Well, it actually turns out that the concept of doppelgangers is a fear that Jordan Peele has harbored since childhood. And he said that on Late Night with Seth Meyers, if you guys ever watched that.
When did you get the idea for this one?
The idea came, you know, I've been terrified of the idea of doppelgangers since I was a kid.
All right, so we're gonna start off with the characters, and what I'm doing is I'm only gonna talk about the main characters. So we're only talking about the actual family and, you know, people that are key to the plot. All right, we're not gonna go off into homeboy that's standing off in the middle of the whatever. No, just the 4 main characters. That way you guys can see the correlation in their names, because every character does have a name in this movie. So you can see exactly how it ties into the whole overall hidden plot. So first character we're gonna break down is Gabe, AKA Abraham, played by Winston Duke. You remember him from Black Panther. So the Archangel, I said Archangel. All right, so the Archangel Gabriel plays a lead role in the Annunciation. If you guys don't know what that is, that's the announcement of Christ appearing on earth to announce that 2 babies are on the way, John the Baptist and Jesus. He is also said to be one of the 3 men in Genesis 18 who visits Abraham to tell him that his wife will have a son. Similarly, when Gabriel appears in Adelaide's Life in Us, it means babies are on the way for Red, whether she wants them or not. Also, Abe and Gabe rhyme, so, you know, that seems to count for something, right? Yeah. All right, so now we're gonna talk about Zora / Umbre, who's the daughter. Now, the name Zora comes from a Slavic word for the word dawn, while Umbre is a derivative of the Latin word for shadow. And we all know that light and dark are constantly fighting, so, you know, that's the wrestling that they're going through in the movie. As you see, Zora is always fighting to, you know, shine, be out there, and then Umbre is out there trying to just take her out, make sure she's killing her light. So, breakdown for them too. Then we got Pluto, the weird son. I don't really know what his tick is. It's kind of odd. His connection seems a little stronger than Zora. Zora seems like she's pretty normal, but when you watch Jason, you just get the odd feeling that there is something a little odd about him. He's real close to his mom, but his actions are just a little funny. For much of the movie, Jason wears a mask. It's a Chewbacca mask. Shout out my Star Wars fans.
It's okay that mine's not movie quality.
And much like the villain on Friday the 13th franchise, Jason Voorhees, the name Jason also suggests the leader of the Argonauts, who narrowly avoided being murdered by his father's half-brother Peleus as a child. One of Jason's exploits on the way to the Golden Fleece was taming fire-breathing bulls without being burned. If you notice on the movie, he likes to play with fire. Him and Pluto actually like to play with fire. You know, it's a real big symbolism, especially when it comes to this. Also, for Pluto, in Roman mythology, Pluto is the ruler of the underworld. And in Disney, Pluto is a dog, and despite being presumably the same species as Goofy, he doesn't talk or walk upright. And if you notice Pluto in the movie, he doesn't talk and he doesn't walk upright. He walks on all 4s versus Jason, who obviously can talk and walk upright like a regular person. So the doppelganger effect with Goofy and Pluto is kind of cool. You know, the opposites there. And then Pluto is doubly fitting for the doppelganger who ascended from the underground and scrabbles around on all 4s. All right, so I only said that I would talk about the main characters in the film, but there is one character I do want to point out just because the symbolism in it is actually pretty cool. Well, for me, all my black people out here, you guys will feel that. So we got Kitty Tyler / Dahlia. Now, I will add in Kitty, like I said, because her characterization is kind of awesome. And it really has a nice spin on it, in my opinion. So, the white woman in peril, the narrative is very strong here in American culture. And in our culture, you know, Kitty Genovese? I don't remember. I don't know how to say her name, all right? But it's here. I wrote it down. All right, and Elizabeth Short became famous by being murdered and mutilated, you know? And not just famous, but they're cultural touchstones for everybody. If you can do something for me, name one single black murdered woman who has inspired the same kind of cultural obsession as the Black Dahlia. Oh, you can't. Okay, cool. Us is a film about a black woman in peril, so naming an underwritten, not particularly, man. We need some water. Naming an underwritten, not particularly pleasant white character and her doppelganger after 2 white women who secured their place in history by being murdered, unceremoniously murdering women and the doppelganger alike. and then having the main character continue her adventure more or less untroubled by their deaths. Nevermind Obsessed seems like a pretty straightforward rebuke of the narratives of white victimhood. So I added that in there just because, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Black lady murders a white girl and we just move on. We just move on. So, you know, it's different kind of twist. It's kind of like Peele, just, you know, throwing in a little of that hashtag racism type stuff in there. All right, now we're gonna get into the meat and potatoes. All right, and we're gonna talk about Adeline, AKA Red, who is played by Lupita Nyong'o. You know, last but not least, definitely. I had to end it with our main character because she's the main plot of the whole movie. I mean, without her, we don't have a movie. So, the name Red. As you see, I'm wearing a Malcolm X shirt. We talking about Red right now. In his criminal days, if you guys didn't know, Malcolm X's nickname was Red, you know, which makes it apt for a revolutionary. It also suggests Little Red Riding Hood, another young girl who traveled through the woods before encountering something malicious that looked like a person, but it wasn't. You know, the big bad wolf. Finally, it's a reckless invitation of film critics like myself to make puns like Red Scare, Red Dead Redemption, Seeing Red, you know, stuff like that. It's just kind of conclusive evidence of Jordan Peele's undying menace. It's actually evidence of Jordan Peele's undying malice. Can't read. So yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? The name Red, you know, we really talk about that whole revolutionary fact. It's because, you know, if you really think about it, she is the main reason that the Tethered even have the idea to come out and show the world that we do exist. So, all right, so now we're gonna break down the plot twist, you know, hashtag M. Night Shyamalan, but better. You know what I'm saying? Let's see here. So, not gonna lie, that twist, maybe I'm gullible, I don't really know. I didn't see it coming. I thought it was great. You know, I thought it was great the way it happened. I definitely did not see it happening. And it really makes sense, except how did Adeline not remember what happened? Or did she remember what happened? She was 8 when the whole switcheroo happened, and then she's been living like this since she was 8. So when did she start believing she was Addie and stop remembering that she was Red? So if you think about it, back in their summer house that night, after they revisit the beach house, Adelaide experiences premonition. She tells Gabe that she feels that her double is out there somewhere. So she says, and on this night, she feels as if she's getting close. So, you know, maybe that creepy smile at the end suggests she knew the whole time. I don't really know. But I feel over time, she started feeling like she was the original once she started talking and fit in. Just, you know, it just manifested the thought that her copy was just a bad nightmare that she experienced a long time ago. And then towards the end, when they had their final climactic fight, the whistling that Red does, it triggers the memory of the real action. Because as you remember, when she's walking through the mirror house, she's whistling, trying to, you know, keep herself calm and not be afraid after the lights go out. Also, if she was able to fit in and live a regular life, it still goes hand in hand with the fact that they could clone a soul, because she sure did have one. Hence that smile at the end. She had a conscience. It's also worth noting that her position as a leader feeds into the Tethered distinct look. Before Adelaide was taken in 1986, her father had just won her that Thriller shirt. And if you watch, obviously, you know, I feel like it's also a key for Jordan to tell you that you're watching the Thriller. It's not really a horror film. But also, she was a Michael Jackson fan. So if you look at the Tethered, you see that they're wearing all red overalls and then they all have one glove. So it's kind of like a shout out to Michael Jackson. What's the meaning behind Jeremiah 11:11? Early in Jordan Peele's Us, young Adelaide sees a man holding a sign and it says Jeremiah 11:11. And then you're gonna see this man probably about 2 or 3 times in the film. Just before she runs into her own young doppelganger, she initially sees him walking out to the beach. The Bible passage then proceeds to become a recurring motive throughout the movie. We see it again when Gabe is watching baseball. The announcer says we're tied at 11:11. Then Jason points at the clock in Adelaide's bedroom and reads, it's 11:11 p.m., which, you know, she looks at it and she's just kind of like, not important. We also subtly see 11:11 represented in the Black Flag t-shirt worn by one of the Tyler twins in the form of 4 blocks on their shirts. You know, the annoying white girls that get ripped off. So, what does this specific Bible verse mean? In the King James Bible, the verse reads, "Therefore thus saith the Lord, behold, I will bring evil upon them, which they shall not be able to escape, and though they shall cry out unto me, I will not hearken unto them." In that chapter, God grants people land on the condition that they keep their covenant with him. But when they revert to the sins of their ancestors, they face divine retribution. Therefore, this is what the Lord says: I will bring on them a disaster they cannot escape. Although they cry out to me, I will not listen to them. Now, this could be interpreted in 2 ways when you watch the film. I personally feel like it's a play on America, simply stating the ones that you have mishandled and abused and left in the shadows will rise up with vengeance, and the Lord will not tend to your cries and save you for your shameful ways, since you have earned this punishment. Or, as one YouTuber breakdown posts, it could be more about the second half of the Bible verse, which reads, "And though they shall cry unto me, I will not hearken unto them." Now, this might have something to do with the tethered not having their voices heard by God, as the video theorizes. Perhaps that's why when they finally get their revenge, they attack the throats of their victims right by the voice box. Ain't nobody talking no more. Now, how big were the network of tunnels that they mentioned in the beginning of the video? So, how big was this network of tunnels that they mentioned at the beginning of the film? Essentially, we could say all through the nation, but I don't really think the tunnels were supposed to be given that much thought. I honestly think they were just kind of a movie push, just kind of push the whole tethered aspect. We weren't really supposed to like think too hard on that. I could be wrong, but I doubt it. Now, who created the tethered? Humans. Humans created the tethered. And humans created them, of course. Like much of the other disasters we create, we did this science experiment cloning rabbits, figured it worked out well, you know, also noted that they were able to reproduce, which would be the reason that Red could as well. So they started doing it with humans. Red states, you can clone the body, but you can't clone the soul. With that statement though, you can assume the scientists shut it down once they felt they couldn't copy the whole thing. But with the plot twist at the end, it shows that with a little more time, they would have maybe seen that they did create perfect copies. Because once you figure out that Red and Adelaide switched a long time ago, Red's been living on this earth pretty good with the soul. And for her to have a conscience and be able to feel pain or remorse, obviously there's a soul there. Now, end of the movie, we pan out, we seen this big old chain going across, and where everybody's probably like, man, what is up with this chain? What are they doing? So, it's based on the real event called Hands Across America that was happening in '86, which actually failed. If you ever do any research on it, they actually didn't raise too much money. It was actually orchestrated by the same guy that decided to make the song We Are the World, We Are the Children. They were really trying to get America to really like come together, you know, and it was a great idea, but there were severe gaps in the chain that were being made. So they actually kind of failed at their goal, but you know, that's neither here nor there. It only matters because Red was only 8 when she had switched. So based off of her plan, she didn't know that it was gonna be a bad idea. So we have to conclude that they were like Hands Across America people, trying to make a statement. But what's the statement? And this is what happens when you have an 8-year-old planning things. They should have just came out and murdered everybody and just took their place. But I mean, hey, you know, Hands Across America, make a statement, we're here. I get it. So that was a breakdown of a few of the plots and the plot holes and the plot twists and the plotties that you might have been looking forward to in the movie. If you walked in there and walked out and you're just kind of like, I don't know what that is, You know, there's a lot of rabbits in the movie as well, so a lot of people look for that as symbolism. Rabbits actually symbolize prosperity and youth, but in some cultures, rabbits are bad luck, and they actually represent you constantly running out of time. You never have time to do anything, which is why it symbolizes that, which is why it's symbolized like that in Alice in Wonderland. The rabbit is always late for something. So a lot of people look at the rabbit as you just can't make your time. All right, man, so social media plugs are as follows, man. On IG, you can catch me at radical_jack_film and fitness. On Facebook, it's gonna be facebook.com/radicaljackmovies, or of course, you can just @sign it in the search bar, Radical Jack Movies, you'll find me there. For the official podcast, it's actually gonna be anchor.fm/Xavier-Jackson. And for Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, it's all gonna be Radical Jack's Views. Check me out. Now, also, gonna give a few shout outs. So when you listen to the podcast, you're gonna hear that intro and that outro music, man. That is produced by my friend Kevin Smith, AKA Young Smitty. Check him out on SoundCloud /Young-Smitty. And then also, with the apparel, man, if you like the shirt, you think the shirt's fire, check out BTC Apparel on Instagram. It's headed over by Marcus Stover. We buy black, man, black owned, veteran owned, for the culture, man. If you're into sports and you have a child that might be trying to pursue a career in football, track, you know, or they're just trying to maybe just get in shape and venture out just to see what they need. Check out Etaj Allen. He's doing Easy Bron training out here in the city. Really doing big things, man. Making film for football scouts. If you want to go to college, he'll film your games, give you some highlights, send it out there. Also, you do college tours. So check out Easy Bron Training as well. You can see him on Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. Shout out to the people behind the camera that you cannot see. It's gonna be my man and their whole...
What the hell did we do? What the crap?
Oh, look, Busy Bear Productions, man. Shout them out. Busy Bear. They're the people behind the camera. All right, they made this fun. We had fun. If you like the video, you like the work behind it, trust me, man, Busy Bear can get it done for you guys, man. You know, I really do appreciate everybody that's watching this video. Make sure you guys share it. You know, if you liked it, cool. If you didn't like it, tell me. I don't mind criticism. Hey, it makes you, it breaks you, but pressure breaks pipes, baby, and I don't break. So this video and this podcast is all about Radical Jack's views, and you, my listeners, watchers, followers, are welcome. All right, I don't have all the answers. Maybe you do. Let's discuss it. At me, leave a comment, like, share, subscribe, you know, all that good stuff, man. Let's keep it going. No, it's fine.
I was like,
All right.